What is an operator? Operator is nothing but a keyword that is utilized actually in order to define some value. Method is nothing but a block of code which runs only when you give a call. What is the operation that has to be created or that has to be completed over here is it should return a value of A plus B because we are defining add, correct? Any elements or letters inside the string, then I can go with this in place of. Hello everyone, I welcome you all to this very third session of first unit under third sem BCA. So the subject is none other than C# and .NET, and we are dealing with the first unit. So yes, absolutely, we have completed 2 more sessions with respect to first unit. My dear students, I just request you to watch those 2 videos, that's session 1 and session 2. Before moving with the session 3. So let's move forward and understand what are the things that we have discussed in our last session or in our previous sessions. Let's see the recap. Over here in the last session we have understood like what is the syntax for compiling a C# program and how to execute that. We did discuss what are the various arrays that we will be using in the C# and variable size arrays, like what are different array lists and what is the application of C#. Then we also did discuss what is boxing and unboxing and all this stuff. So yes, this was in our last session, and let's move forward and understand the agenda of today's session. In this session, you'll be learning like what are different operators, what are expressions, and then we'll be learning like what are the different kinds of operators that we'll be defining or utilizing with respect to C#. Then we also discuss the decision making statements, the looping statements, what are the different kinds of looping statements that we have and we utilize. We also do discuss what are the different methods, what is a method, and also related to that we see the syntax. And finally, we'll be learning like how to go forward with string handling. And then we'll be also seeing what are string builders and what is interpolation. So these are the things that we discuss in our today's session. So now let's understand what is an operator. Operator is nothing but a keyword that is utilized actually in order to define some value. Okay, so we have to use that keywords, right? So because we need to utilize those operations. So that's where we'll be moving with the operators. So as we can observe with respect to different types of operators, if we consider the first one, that's a arithmetic operator. Over here we can observe what are the different kinds of arithmetic operators. Yes, absolutely, it's none other than addition, subtraction, multiplication, division and all, right? Next is the relational operators, where we will be dealing with all the relational parameters like equal to, less than, greater than equal to, or less than equal to, in this kind, right? So up next is logical operator. Oh wow, yes, logical operator is nothing but it's none other than our NOT gate, AND gate, OR gate, XOR gate and all. Okay. And up next is assignment operator. With respect to assignment operator, we know, so it is nothing but equal to. So yes, over here we have those. Next, we have multiple types of operators like bitwise, where we'll be only working with 2 bits, that's either 0 or 1, or we can also consider it as a true or false. Sometimes we also need to go with some null operators. So yes, it's a null operators. Up next, let's understand what is an expression. So expression is nothing but a set of statement where you will be including your operators, variables, literals, methods in order to define or make a meaningful statement. So that's nothing but an expression. So under expression, you'll be utilizing various types of operators, or you can also utilize or include variables, methods, literals and all. So that's nothing but the operators and expressions. So I believe it's clear to you, is it? Up next, let's see what are the different kinds of decision making statements we have under C#. So absolutely, the decision making statement, it starts from our if loop, correct? It will start with if loop, and we also can use if else, else if ladder, or even we can go with the switch statements. So the example or the syntax for a simple decision making statement is over here, wherein we are utilizing some decision making statement. So yes, you can see here we are introduced if. So if is also a decision making statement, correct? So under that I am defining some condition, like if the marks is greater than or equal to 90, then what it should write? So yes, it has to write under console write line like grade A. Correct, right? If your marks is greater than 90 plus, or if you score a marks greater than 90, then your grade should be 90. Then your grade should be A grade. So that's what we are defining. And say, what are the different conditions? If your marks is less than 90, or if your marks is less than 80 or something, there is a levels, correct, for the grading. So that in order to define that, we can utilize the statements where we can say it has a decision statements. So now let's see what is a method and also the syntax in order to define the method. So let's move forward. Over here, methods in C#. Method is nothing but a block of code which runs only when you give a call. You can utilize this method inside the parameters. So you can use this in order to define a value. Okay, so let's see the syntax. You will be using the access modifier first and then the return type, like what is a type of data that has to be loaded as a output data. So the output data type is nothing but a return type and the method name. It specifies like what is the operation or what is the operator that is being called, okay, and then the parameters, and within the brackets we have to write the body of a method. So now over here we have an example. So we are defining a integer set has a public and we are defining two values, that's A and B. What is the operation that has to be created or that has to be completed over here is it should return a value of A plus B because we are defining add, correct? You can consider this A and B as parameters and you can define some values into it. So this is all about methods. Now, as we understood, like whenever we consider a method, a parameter will be defined inside it. Correct, right? So up next, if this is a case, let's understand what are the different types of parameters that can be utilized by these methods. So yeah, over here, we can see over here types of method parameters. So we can go with a value, that's a default, or we can also go with a copy past, then a reference, which means it has to pass some reference value and it has to be initialized. Up next is out. So this means like there is a reference which is already passed and there is no need to initialize it. So that's where out is. Okay. And then we have params. So it means a variable number of argument or a variable number under an argument. So this is all about the types of methods. So what are the different kinds of methods that we utilize? Here is a reference. We can go with out. We can go with a param, which is inside used argument, and also we can define a value. So these are some basic utilized method types. Up next, let's see what are different types of string, what is string handling and interpolation. Let's start with string handling in C#. So string, array of words or array of letters, correct? So over here we can consider the string handling as immutable and it will support a Unicode. Okay, so these are the two important factors with respect to the string handling. Up next, let's see what are the different methods that is used to define the string. So we can go with length in order to specify the length of a string, and toUpper to specify the upper part of the string, and substring if I need a part of string inside a whole string, then I'll be utilizing the substring option. Okay, and replace if I need to replace any elements or letters inside the string, then I can go with this replace of. Up next, split. So if I want to split the string into 2 or 3 different strings, then I can go with that split option, then join. So in some cases, we'll be having different set of strings and there will be need to join both of them or both of the strings to form an exact expression or to form an exact information. So that's where we'll be using this join and index of. So this index of is utilized whenever you go and work with classes or strings. Okay. And trim, absolutely, this trim is used to trim or cut the spaces, that's like in between spaces in the string. So there will be some strings wherein some few spaces are formed because of interoperation or substringing or something like that. At that cases, we don't want that space, that's in between space. So at that time, how to reduce that space is by utilizing the trim of keyword. Similarly, we are having equals, compare as well as contains keyword. Absolutely, as we know, equals is used to define a value and is used to compare the values, and contains, so yes, it is used to define like what is the content of the string. So these are the different methods which you can utilize, or these are the different keywords which you can utilize with respect to string handling. So let's see an example over here. We have defined a string name for .NET. So what we have to understand or what we have to execute over here is we need a write line which will be specifying the length of the characters or the length of the defined string. So that's where we'll be going with this. So this is all about string handling in C#. Now let's understand what is string building and interpolation. So as we did understood like what is a string and what are the keywords that are utilized to handle the string, up next is a string building. So string building or string builder, yes, absolutely, we know that it is used to build a string. But now what is interpolation? So now interpolation is nothing but a key feature of C# which includes string building. So whenever there is a requirement to build a string efficiently, then we will be going with interpolation, because it is a type where you can consider different strings and build an efficient string together. So that's where we'll be defining as interpolation. So how is this interpolation being specified? So yes, we have a term that's by using this symbol. So whenever we use the symbol inside a C#, then it means like there is a string building process happening and interpolation is utilized there in order to support that efficient string building process. Okay, now let's see the example for string interpolation. So over here we are defining a string name, and up next is a console.writeLine. So as I told, we are using interpolation. So it starts with a symbol here and hello name. Now how is it format? So we can see that console.writeLine of string.format, that's we are defining some roll number. So this is a second example. So in this way you can use this interpolation in order to build a string as well as formatting a string. This is nothing but string building and interpolation. Absolutely, we have completed with our first unit of C# and .NET. So let's meet you on the next session with a new unit. Thank you.